and I am the Hero Seeker.
Hey y'all, it's Kay the Hero Seeker, and today I want to talk to all of you about why you should be watching Preacher. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of the show or the comic before, Preacher is a supernatural action comedy helmed by Sam Catlin and Seth Rogen. Yes, that Seth Rogen. It focuses on the misadventures of Jesse Custer, played by Dominic Cooper, as he struggles to reconcile his mischievous and sometimes downright evil nature with his desire to fulfill a promise he made to his late father and his Christian beliefs. Things really start heating up once Preacher Jesse Custer gets his power, later called Genesis, but without getting into spoilers, you'll mainly be following him on his adventures as he learns hidden truths about heaven, about hell, and most importantly, about God, Big G. Along for the ride are his two trusted, or maybe not so trusted companions, one being his formidable and slightly psychopathic girlfriend Tulip, played by Ruth Negga, and his vampiric addict of a friend, Cassidy, played by Joe Gilgun. So if you like TV shows like Supernatural or Lucifer, this will be right up your alley. And for those of you wondering why I'm even covering this show on a channel called Hero Seeker based on Western and Eastern comic book media, it's because this show actually is based on a comic from the late 1990s. For those of you who don't know, the Preacher franchise was created in 1995 by well-renowned comic book writer Garth Ennis. You might know him from more current stuff such as the Punisher run that came out not too long ago. It was from 1995 to 2000, and it was a Vertigo title. Again, for those of you who don't know, Vertigo is a more serious toned imprint of DC Comics, focused on creating franchises such as Hellblazer, Lucifer, and the Sandman that wouldn't be bound by the strict rules of the Comics Code Authority, thus leading to the inclusion of many more adult themes, cursing, drugs, alcohol, and the ultraviolence, which I'm sure many of you, myself included, are a big fan of. At the height of its run, about 1997, 1998, around there, it was consistently shipping over 40,000 units, which, if any of you look at the current day comic book sales, is pretty impressive. For those of you who haven't picked up the comic book, I would highly recommend giving it a peep, as it is a pretty good example of the variety you can achieve in the medium of comics. It's not all superheroes with capes, which I do love, but there can also be more adult-themed, more grounded stories that are told through the medium. But back to the TV show. The first season of Preacher aired on May 22nd, 2016, with the weekly ratings averaging at about 1.675 million viewers throughout the course of its airing. The second season aired about a year afterwards, averaging about 1.169 million viewers. We see a little bit of a drop. And the third season just aired about a week ago on June 24th, 2018, with the ratings not quite reaching a million for that first week, with about 890,000 viewers tuning in. Now, by no means are these ratings bad, but they're not as good as other television shows of the like, such as Into the Badlands, which scores about maybe 200 to 300 million more on average than Preacher. But I think it's worth noting that a possible and probable explanation for these less than spectacular ratings is its time slot. The Sunday at 10 p.m. time slot is notorious for its lackluster ratings, and with this in mind, we see that Preacher is actually doing pretty good for the cards that it's been dealt. With all this in mind, I would say that this is the perfect time for you to hop on board the Preacher train if any of this sounds interesting to you. As I said before, the first episode of the third season just aired just under a week ago on June 24th, so you're going to be front and center for the development of this third season, which I think is going to be great. I watched the first episode of the third season and I was very impressed, and one thing I can say about the show is that it always leaves you wanting more at the end of each episode. And with this third season, we will be exploring the lore of the entire Preacher world, the universe. Without getting into spoilers, we're really going to be getting into the meat and potatoes of Jesse Custer's character. And yes, I did just say meat and potatoes. Now, as I touched on when I was talking about the ratings, Preacher hasn't amassed a huge following, but it has developed a very large cult following. Fans of the original comic book, as well as new fans who never heard of the property before, will rave on this show on almost any forum you check. The following may not be as large as The Walking Dead or, as I said before, Into the Badlands, but I think these fans are much more devoted and invested in these characters because of the unique storytelling and characters that you will find in Preacher. As I often say, you're not going to find anything like this television show anywhere else on TV. And as for what I think of this show, well, obviously I'm making this video, and I absolutely love this show. It has a very unique tone. It keeps you guessing about what's going to happen. There are constant twists and turns, and it's just far enough from the original Garth Ennis book that any viewer will be entertained and surprised, whether you read the comic, whether you didn't. Season 2 was a very important season. We were introduced to the true grand scope of the issues and antagonists that Jesse Custer is going to have to continue to face throughout the run of this television series, and I think that the writers really care about these characters and know what they're doing, and this is very evident in what I call the organic storytelling. And for those of you who don't know what that phrase means, organic storytelling pretty much refers to the development of the story in a way that interconnects with things that have happened previously, as opposed to events just happening, characters just doing things. In organic storytelling, we see that events, storylines, and character developments are based on previous events, storylines, and character developments to really create a show that keeps the viewer invested in the true development of this world and of these characters. And I think that is where Preacher really shines. I'll say it once more. You will not find any show like this on television. As for my final rating, I would give this a solid 4.5 out of 5 stars. So if any of this sounds appealing to you, you can check it out on AMC, Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern, and for those of you who want to go back and watch Season 1 and Season 2, all those episodes are available on Hulu, and I'm sure you can find them by other means, wink wink. So tune in and we'll start a discussion in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you like what I have to say. This is Kay the Hero Seeker, and I'm signing off. Until next time.